Welcome back. If you're listening to me right now, you made it to my second episode. I'm thinking about giving this podcast, if you will, a name. I'm thinking about the generator, a play on my name and a play on, generating conversation. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. So yeah, maybe by the third episode, I might have a whole get up, the generator with Janae Calloway. I have been out of town. That's why I didn't get a chance to share last week. I went up to New York to visit my one and only baby girl. She's up in New York going to Pace University and she's majoring in finance. So I went and got her settled in a little bit before that. And then last week I went up there again so that we can go see one of our favorite musicals. That is Hamilton. I know there's some Hamilton fans out there. We are certainly some Hamilton fans. She can probably quote the entire musical word for word. I'm probably like 50% at this point. But yeah, we went up there, we dressed the part. I dressed as a blue coat, she dressed as a red coat. We had a blast in Times Square. And really, I just went up there for a day and a half. We got to be up there during New York Fashion Week. That was pretty cool. Walking around, seeing all of the fashion trends and a lot of people, partying and taking pictures. We got to take some pictures and all that jazz. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Nevertheless, I'm back. So I'm back with another video. And if you notice, I'm not live this week. I'm testing everything out. I want to see how well the lives do. I want to see how well it does if I edit and, go from there. So bear with me as I'm adjusting. But yeah, as far as travel is concerned, because I was traveling last week, it was put on my heart. It was put on my heart to talk about travel. And not only travel, but travel and finances. Like, how do you get to travel? How do I get to travel? I travel a lot. And I was talking to one of my line sisters today, and she was like, how? How do you do it? How do you? I've seen you go out of town several times in the last couple months alone. How do you do it? The people want to know. So I'm about to break it down for you. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to travel. I was the type of kid that was always stuck in the house, sitting on the porch, looking out the window, didn't have a lot going on, and it was just like ingrained in my spirit to travel when I had the opportunity to. When I grew up, it was always going to be travel for me. When I decided to join the Navy, I had a wish list of places that I wanted to be stationed. And on that wish list, I had Italy, Hawaii, and Japan. 3 places that I had never been before. Coming from Chicago, it was just one of those places that the South Side of Chicago, it was just one of those places where I just never imagined I could go. And so when they said anywhere, I was like, okay, anywhere, anywhere. So when the selections came, they gave me Japan. It was literally exactly one of the places that I wanted to go. So I lived in Japan for 2.5 years before, transferring to San Diego, then Virginia, in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and then down here in Tampa, Florida. And in between time, I've been to several places. I lived in Dubai for 7 months. Can you imagine 7 months? It was one of the best experiences that I've had in my career in the Navy. So yeah, traveling has just always been my thing. So I say all of that to say that my travel is done because I prioritize travel. People make room, people make time, and people save money for the things that they want to do. So I sacrifice all of those things so that I can do that. Long story short. So that's why I travel a lot. Just last year, my daughter and I, we went to Paris and we experienced the Olympics. That was one of my bucket list items. And again, going all the way back to childhood, watching the Olympics on the TV, it was just always something like, man, will I ever be able to attend anything like that? And so now in my adult years, I'm like, I'm definitely going to ensure that I check off all those things that are on my list of things that I never thought I could do as a kid. So, how am I able to do pretty much any and everything that I want to do now? Whether it's traveling, going to concerts, getting premium seating, orchestra, you name it, I do it because that's what I prioritize at this point in my life anyway. Everybody knows that I joined the Navy when I was 18 years old and that I completed 20 years in service. And you may say, I did time in the military. I'm not able to travel as much as you do or do all of these things. So, what exactly are you doing? Are you selling drugs or something? No, I'm not selling drugs. I promise you. Am I scamming? No, I'm not scamming either. I literally went to the military. I retired. I do collect a pension from the military because I completed 20 years of service, and that's what happens when you complete 20 years of service. I also benefit from other resources that the Navy has to offer me post retirement. On top of that, I do have a regular 9 to 5 job. And my 9 to 5 job happens to pay me very well. Why? Because I'm educated. I have 20 years of experience in leadership, management, and I'm good at what I do. My daughter, she is 18 years old, and I'm an empty nester because she's up in New York. Oh, and guess what? The military, the Navy, the VA, they pay for my daughter to go to school. So, yes, I'm able to do all of that and still send my daughter through school. This is not an advertisement for anyone to join the military. I mean, it'll probably be very, very beneficial if you did. However, I'm just telling my story. Um, so, yeah, that's how I do it. What is it that you want to do? Are you willing to sacrifice for it? Are you willing to prioritize for it? Are you willing to make the right decisions so that you can achieve your goal? For me, I'm always planning. I'm always strategizing on how I'm going to complete my next goal. Sometimes I brainstorm. A lot of times I have to write it down because I may forget. That's just what I do. But guess what? You can too. Everyone can. It's not impossible. I think people think that the most grand ideas are impossible, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. You just have to be willing to try. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to do the hard work. There were several times in my 20-year career in the Navy where I wanted to quit, give up. I didn't like how it was going for me in the moment, but still, I knew that in the end, it would pay off. And unfortunately, it's not a lot of people that can look towards the future because they're busy complaining about what's happening in the current situation. And for me, even though I did complain, I knew what my goal was. I knew that I wanted to have that additional passive income at 38 years old. And so I pushed forward. Have you pushed forward towards your goals, even though there was adversity, even though it was hard? If you haven't, or if you've given up, it's actually not too late for you to try again. And maybe this time around, you won't give up. And I'm sure it'll pay off. So when I was retiring from the military, I retired in March of 2024, at the very end of March. And I was extremely afraid. You can ask anybody. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I knew that I would eventually be getting a pension and collecting other resources, but I had no idea of what I was going to do because I had a lot of debt, a lot of debt. I bet you can't guess how much debt I had. I had over $150,000 in debt. I was scared out of my mind. In the months after March, I had zero income. Do you hear me? Zero income. My daughter was still at home with me. She was still in high school. And I had zero income for 2 months. Oh, and by the way, the Paris trip happened that year, that August. And at the time, like I said, I was broke. Like, I was broke, because I didn't plan wisely. I say I'm a planner, but in this case, I didn't save enough. Let's just say that. I thought that I would start getting money in as soon as I got out, but it just didn't work that way. But yeah, I was broke, but I still had to make it happen for my baby girl and for myself. It was a lifelong dream. It was something that the inner child in me just had to do no matter what. Moving forward, once I finally got my job that I'm currently working at, it was such a blessing. It was such a blessing, and I'll tell you why. I met this lady through a mutual colleague of mine, and I was telling her about how I was looking for a role that I could fit into, that I could use my degree and my experience within the Navy. And she was just like, oh, okay. I told her a little bit about me, and I didn't know her well. I had just met her that day. And about 2 weeks later, I was literally sitting on my couch. And while I was there, I got a text message from her. And she said, hey, are you still looking for a job? And I'm like, I almost fainted because it was almost like she was looking through my window. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm looking for a job. And she's like, well, I'm looking to leave the place that I'm at because I found something better. And I want to help the employer out by leaving them with someone that they can trust. And I thought that you would be a great fit. And I said, okay. And she immediately told me about how much I could expect to get paid. And literally, by word of mouth, I had the job. I had an interview with the owner and was hired on the spot. You never know what people are going through. You never know what hardships people may be facing. It's easy to look at someone and say, oh, they have it all. Oh, they've never struggled. Or, I can't believe she's going on yet another trip. I do it because I work hard. I've worked hard and I continue to work hard. And it's possible for you to do it as well. When it comes to finances, I told you about what my income is like, but how did I become debt free? I became debt free at the end of that year. Let me tell you about how. So, after all of that time trying to catch up on bills after I acquired my job, I was like, okay, even though I can pay my bills now, I'm paying my bills, but I'm not able to really live. And if you know me, you know that I have to live. I have to live life and have fun. If not, then what's the use, right? In my eyes. And so I called my brother and asked him what he thought about taking a loan out on my house. Now, I bought this house in 2019 when the market was very good for buyers. And long story short, when the analysis was done, I had over $250,000 in equity in my home. And let me not forget, this is the same home that when it was time for me to purchase it, everyone, almost everyone, my mom, my dad, friends, family, thought it was the worst decision ever. But guess what? I did my research. I love real estate. I love being able to profit off of real estate. And while the home that I purchased initially cost a lot more because of the area, because of the great area that it sits in, because of that same area, it gave me over $250,000 in equity. And equity means that pretty much my house is worth a lot more than what I owe on it. With that being said, I was able to take some of that equity out and pay off all of my bills. From my car that I had purchased a year ago, a year prior to that, my daughter's car was already paid off. All credit cards, all loans, you name it, I paid it all off. Not only did it benefit me in a way to have extra money on a weekly, monthly basis, but it also made my credit score go up. So it was just beneficial all the way around. It may be for you, it may not be for you, but it was definitely for me. And my mortgage, yes, it went up, but nothing compared to paying the nothing compared to paying all the bills that I had. So how do you get to your goal? What is your goal? Is it travel? Is it saving money? Is it paying off bills? Is it getting a new car? Is it having children? Is it spending more time with your family? What is your goal? What is your plan? What's your plan to get to that goal? Have you sat down and thought about it? Did you write it down? Did you research it? I'm big on research. Anytime I make a decision, it may seem like I'm making a brash decision, like I'm making a very quick decision without any thought. Guaranteed, everything that I do has plenty of thought behind it, probably for months. I just like to think, ponder, research, write it down. So, no, when I come out with a traveling idea, a purchase idea, just know that it was well thought out, well planned, and probably ready for implementation. So, what is your next step? Have you thought about it? Did you plan? Did you research? Have you asked around even? Are there other people that are doing what you want to do that you can ask? Did you ask them? All of these things are things that people do when they're trying to prepare to do the things that they want to do. And just because we make mistakes doesn't mean that we can't pivot and try again. Pivoting requires for you to reassess and to try again, but using a different method. If you messed up on this time round, what are you going to do on the next time round to ensure that you meet your goal? Even if it takes a couple of years, even if you dropped out of college, but your dream was to go and be a journalist, but you dropped out for one reason or another, and now you have all sorts of responsibilities that you have to tend to rather than going to school. Guess what? It's still possible. When I joined the Navy, I had my daughter about 2.5 to 3 years after I joined, and I was actually married for a short period of time and then was divorced and was a single parent. I actually got married again, and still yet a single parent after I divorced yet again. But my point is, I was still able to go to school. I started off obtaining my associate's degree. Then I set my next goal for my bachelor's degree. And even though it took a lot longer than what I wanted it to take, I then set my eyes on a master's degree that I got in 2020. All while deploying, being a single mother, having the stressors of being a divorcee, having the stressors of the military and being always on call, and having all these additional duties. It's possible if you want to do it. Granted, yeah, the military pays for you to go to school. But again, I chose to go to the military for that reason, that and to travel. So it's literally about choices. If you want to do this, why do that? If this will make it easier, why take the long road or the harder road? And that's literally what my life is all about. Planning ahead of time, even if it's going to be hard in the meantime, because I know it will pay off later. So I just encourage everyone to just plan, strategize, brainstorm, figure it out, and don't give up. Even if you mess up, I've messed up. My life is not peachy. I was broke last year. I just told you that. It was one of the worst times of my life financially, but I planned. Even though my plan didn't really work out right initially after retirement, I did plan and it did eventually come around. Plan, plan, plan. Do you need help planning? Call me. Let me know. No, seriously, reach out. I'm open. That's the whole reason for having these conversations. That's why I'm generating these conversations because I want to be a vessel for people. I want to help. I want to guide people towards their progress, their goals. I don't like to use the word success that much because success is relative. Success to one person could be to be a millionaire, and success to another person could be to get to work on time. Like, success is not the same all the way around. So, progress, whatever your goal is, as long as you're making progress, you're golden. And as long as the progress is continuous, you're golden. Because once you meet one goal, don't stop. You shouldn't stop. You should progress to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. Against adversity, against haters, against anything that anybody might say, against people that may want what's best for you, but don't have the same thought process and can't fathom ever going beyond different stages in life. They may not mean any harm, but they may just not know how to progress. And so some people give bad gouge just out of fear. They have fear in their own lives. They fear that things are impossible. But again, if you plan and if you sacrifice and if you prioritize, nothing is impossible. So I'll leave you with this. I'm not perfect, and nobody is. Anything is possible if you try and if you stop saying you can't. Stop saying that it's impossible. Again, thank you all for joining me yet again on my second episode of my podcast that I think I'm going to name The Generator. Generator. We'll see about that. Thanks for talking about it with me. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, go ahead, leave them in the comment section. I'll be happy to address them on the next episode. Until then, cheers.